Okay, so today, what we're going to do is this. It's still the law of cosines. If all you know is side, 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 okay? As an example, write an example down. I'm just going to make numbers up. Let's say in this triangle, this happens to be 8. This side happens to be, I'm just going to make it up, 7.5. And maybe this side is 6. Okay, I'm just making it up. Okay, and I'm going to call the triangle A, B, C. Okay. So in this example, I do know side, 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 right? Well, we can find an angle. We can find an angle. I'm going to take, and I'm going to do it, this formula, and I'm going to rewrite it. So I'm going to rewrite it like this. So I'm going to solve for cosine. You don't have to do this. I'm going to do it for you. So the new formula is going to be cosine of theta equals parentheses. And I'm going to put the parentheses in color because in the calculator it's really important the parentheses are there, okay? So it's going to be adjacent squared plus the other adjacent squared, subtract the opposite squared, parentheses, divided by parentheses. Parentheses are really important with the calculator. Parentheses 2 times your adjacent times your other adjacent, and I'm going to close the parentheses. Now, write that down. That's our other rule. It is the law of cosines, but it's just the law of cosines rearranged. Okay, all I did is I moved things around. I solved for cosine. You guys didn't. I did that for. Okay. Now, there's one more thing, which you know. There's one more thing. Let me write that down. One more thing, which you know. What I'm looking for is an angle, right? Right? I'm looking for an angle. So I've got to do one more thing. The second step is to do this. So my second step is to take whatever this is and cosine inverse, right? Because I'm looking for the angle. So my second step then would be to take whatever this is, and I'm going to go cosine inverse of that answer. Okay? So in this example, I have 3 angles to solve for, right? We have to get all 3. So we got to pick one to get. So I don't know, Blaze, which one do you want to find? A, B, or C?
A.
A it is. So what Blaze has done by picking A is he's made this side adjacent, and this side the opposite, right? If you'd picked a different angle, that would switch it up. You guys agree with that? It would switch it up if you picked a different angle. So what Blaze has done, here's my adjacent, there's my adjacent, and there's my opposite. And if you picked angle B, it would switch it up, or angle C, it would switch it up, right? So we would set this up as cosine of A, because that's my angle, right? Equals parentheses 8 squared plus 6 squared minus 7.5 squared parentheses divided by parentheses 2. 2 is part of the formula, it's always 2, times the adjacent, which is 8, times the other adjacent, which is 6, parentheses. Now, I'll let you write that down, and I'll show you how this works in my calculator, okay? So I'm doing 2 steps. I'm going to put this into my calculator first and get that decimal, and then I'll cosine inverse, okay? I'm going to get this. So the parentheses are super important because you need the entire top to be divided by the entire bottom. Does that make sense why the parentheses are so important? So my calculator, I'm just going to go parentheses 8 squared plus 6 squared, subtract 7.5 squared, parentheses. You got to have the parentheses. Divided by parentheses. You have to have the parentheses. 2 times 8 times 6 parentheses, right? Now I'm hoping I get a decimal. I'm hoping I get a decimal because I want to cosine inverse that, right? Enter. I get a decimal. That's good. I should get a decimal because I want to next do the cosine inverse of that. So then I'm going to take my cosine inverse of this 0.4557 blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to use my answer button. So I'm going to go second cosine, right? Cosine inverse of my answer. And I get an angle. 63.9. Well, pretty 62.9, about 60, so about 62.9. Okay? Now, thumbs up. So then yesterday, and I'm going to keep doing this, I passed out a little bit of a note sheet to you, okay? So yesterday, and we're going to do the back. So yesterday we did this, 8-4, right? Do you still have this? See, you still have this, 8-4. 8-4, we did 8-4. So we'll turn the page on the back of 8-4. And let's do example 2. Now example 2 says solve the whole thing, okay? All right, so you guys on the back, everybody there? Anybody need this? Anybody missing this? Okay, so I'm right here on example 2. Well, what do we know? What do we know? Side, side, side. So we want, and I'll write it down a bit, but we just wrote down the formula, right? Formula was, well, it was, that formula there, right? Wasn't that our formula? All right, so we got to find them all. So, let's see. Braden? We got to find one of 3. Which one do you want? Which angle do you want to find?
P.
P it is. We're going to find P. By doing that, Braden has made the 5 the adjacent side. He's made the 8 the adjacent side. And he's made the 7 the opposite. Everybody agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then what we're going to do is this. Using our formula, which is, and I'll rewrite it again, cosine theta equals parentheses adjacent squared plus adjacent squared minus opposite squared 2 times adjacent times adjacent. Okay, you guys already have this in your notes, but I'm going to write it down again, okay? So it's right there. So that's our formula. So I'm going to put 5, 8, and 7 into my formula. So I'm going to go cosine of P, that's the angle we're going to find, right? Equals parentheses 5 squared plus 8 squared subtract 7 squared parentheses divided by parentheses 2 times 5 times 7. I need to use my calculator in degree mode. Parentheses 5 squared plus 8 squared minus 7 squared. Parentheses divided by parentheses 2 times 5 times 7. Parentheses, right? The whole thing in log cosines. We're a little bit behind. Okay?
Snow.
Yeah. So enter, right? But that's not my answer. That can't be an angle, right? Did I make a mistake?
Yeah.
Did I make a mistake, Molly? I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, that should be, oh, Molly, I did make a mistake. Molly, I'm glad you're paying attention. Thank you. Me make a mistake? Never. Okay, thanks, Molly. 5 squared plus 8 squared. Thanks. Molly, you're awesome. Thank you. Okay, now, so I think this is obvious. There's no way this angle could be 0.5, right? There's no way. So what do? There's one more step. We want to find the angle. What do we push? Inverse. So we want to do the cosine inverse, right? We're going to go cosine inverse. Cosine inverse of my 0.5. Okay, let's see what my calculator goes. Cosine inverse of 0.5. I'm going to get 60 degrees. All right, that seems like that could be 60 degrees. Of course, I'm no artist, so I just make them up, but 60 degrees seems reasonable. Yeah, Alonzo?
Nothing.
Now, good luck, Fernando. Have fun. Now.
Don't lose too fast.
No, you can do great. All right, real quick. Go ahead and go.
Can we put
So,
can we get a back break?
no, I'm not done yet. Let me finish up, okay? Let me finish up. Halfway, almost done. All right, so you got two choices. I and G. I and G, right? So, do you like this formula? Yes or no? Thumbs up? Or do you like the opposites better? Okay, do you like this formula or do you like the opposites better? Okay, it's a good question. You have a pair of opposites now. If you have a pair of opposites, you could use the law of sines. Seems easier, doesn't it? But if you like this one we just did, it'll also work. So what do you want to do? Do you want to do the law of sines? Because you have a pair of opposites. Or the law of cosines? Victor, what do you think? Law of sines. Easier. Seems easier. You guys agree? You got your opposites. You guys agree with that? And the law of cosines will work. But since the law of sines is easier, we've got my opposites, right? Victor, what do you want to find? Angle G or angle I? Doesn't matter to me.
Angle I.
Angle I. So here's my opposites there. Okay, help me set it up. What am I going to write? Using this formula of opposites, law of sines. Help me set it up. What am I going to write? Come on, what am I going to write? Sine of I. Heard. Sine of I. I heard that over what? Thanks, Jacob. Over what?
Victor said it.
Victor, what is it? 8. Yes. Equals what?
Sine
Yes, Victor, you the man. Over what?
over 7.
Awesome. You're totally smart. Now what are you going to do?
Multiplying 8
Oh, yeah. See, this isn't hard at all, right? So I get 8 times sine of 60 divided by 7. 0.9897. That can't be an angle. Got to inverse it, right? Nice. So got to inverse it because we're looking for an angle. So we're going to go sine inverse, right? Sine inverse of that 0.9897, blah, 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 blah. But I like the answer button better, don't you guys? I like the sine inverse. I like that answer button because I don't have to type that decimal in. About 81.8 I'll round it to. So angle I equals 81.8 degrees. So let's put that in there. 81.8 degrees. Okay, now, okay, help me with the easy step. Angle G. 180. Okay, tell me 180 what? What am I doing? You're right. Okay, you're gonna. Yep. Okay, so you're gonna. You know the sum of all three angles is 180. So you're gonna add these two and subtract from 180, right, Victor? That's kind of what I think I heard you say, right? So angle G would equal 180 minus the sum of 60 plus 81.8 degrees. And let's see what we get. 180. 180. Subtract the sum of 60 plus 81.8. About 38.2. Okay. Now, the good and bad news. Okay, the good news is this. We got lots of time. Bad news that you guys don't want to hear is that the only way you're going to get good at this is with practice, right? Now, I can yell at you forever to make you practice, but if you practice, you get better at this. So I want us to do out of our book 3, 4, 6, 8, and 9, okay? And we've got lots of time. If you get done early, you want to work on your tower, you can, but you should have plenty of work to do, okay? You got to practice. Isn't that nice? She brings me the paper every day.